All right, guys. If you guys out there listening, if you guys, when you guys hear us, let me know so that we can start the interview process, guys. Also, it'll help if you guys can let us know what city that you guys are listening in from. That's always helpful.
I'm pulling up the chat right now.
Okay. Let's see here. There's like a short delay, and then it usually starts afterwards. Okay, so Richie Rich said the sound in the video is good. They can hear us from Nashville, from Canada. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. All right, guys, this is Tai Zen, and I'm broadcasting out of Atlanta, Georgia. And with me tonight, guys, I have some very, very special guests. I'll just go from left to right here. We have Carlo. He is a staff member at Input Output Hong Kong. It's a company that builds blockchain technologies for people, and he's been hired on to help assemble and organize the Ethereum Classic community. And I invited him here so that maybe. Okay, so say hello, Carlo, to everyone.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for watching, everybody.
All right, and then next to him we have the Honorable Grandmaster LeonFu.com. All right. Say hello, Leon. You guys already know him.
Hi there.
All right. And then next we have Daniel from the Exodus
JP's
team.
Next.
Huh?
JP's next.
Oh, he's next. Okay, on my side I see
I see
you next.
Daniel next. But
Okay. So, all right. So we'll have JP next. He's the Chief Technology Officer for the Exodus wallet software project. And he'll be joining us here today from Omaha, Nebraska. That's one of the great college football teams in America here. Okay. And then we also have the co-founder of the Exodus, the Chief Design Officer, Daniel. Say hello, Daniel.
Hello, guys.
All right. So the reason, if many of you guys have been following us, you guys know that we usually only interview people, the teams, about their cryptocurrency projects and their ICOs and their upcoming ICO releases and their coins. But recently, through the Factum headquarters down in Austin, where LeonFu.com lives, we heard about a project called the Exodus Wallet Project, and they were seeking funding on Bank to the Future. So we decided to look into it to check out what it was all about, and we downloaded their wallet, tested it, and we really, really like it. Matter of fact, we liked it so much, and we believe that it's such a big game changer that we reached out to the founders here, JP and Daniel, and brought them on here so that we can pick their brains and get their thoughts on why they designed their wallet the way they did, and why it's so different from all the other cryptocurrency wallets out there. So before we get started, let me just, somebody has to go first, guys. So, on my side, Daniel's on the left, so I'm just going to start with him, okay? So let's get a little bit of background, guys, about you guys and what you guys, what you guys were doing and how you guys came into this project. Could you talk a little bit about yourself first, Daniel? What
Absolutely.
You were doing and stuff?
Yeah, so I started my first technology company in '99, so this has been a while ago. I just had my 40th birthday here. And
congratulations.
Thanks. We did touchscreens for some of the early touchscreen stuff you guys have seen in public forums, like rent-a-cars or airline rentals, when you're not airline rentals, but like tickets in airlines or rental cars, things that people interact with, like kiosks. And I built that company up. And after I exited that company, I was kind of searching around. This was 2012-ish. I was searching around for my next venture, and I ran into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And I thought it was just amazing. I went down the rabbit hole like everyone does. And I soon realized after downloading some of these wallets, I was like, I came from a design background, like complete design background. At my other company, I had designed for Apple, Disney, Louis Vuitton, Nike, a lot of these high-end companies. And when I came over to the cryptocurrency space, I realized there's no designers. I was like, there's nobody here that's designing anything. So that frustrated me a little bit. And that's how I started thinking I need to be able to build something to bring design and user experience into this space. JP and I ran into each other through a mutual friend, through a meetup community. And I can let him talk a little bit about the story about how we came together and Exodus was started. But that's a real brief background on myself.
Okay, so what real quick, what are some of the companies that you have designed for? Because before this broadcast started, we talked for a few minutes there offline, and you mentioned some heavy hitters there, like.
Yeah, so in my old company, the company was called Nano Nation. It's called NANONATION. It's actually still around today. We designed touchscreen software, and we were some of the first touchscreen software that Apple sold in their business enterprise group. So I got to design for a lot of Apple partners, as well as Apple, companies like BMW, companies like Louis Vuitton, companies like Disney, like their theme parks, and those kind of high-end companies where design was just expected to be at the level that was just, really high-end. So that was where my background came from. And that's why when I came into the cryptocurrency space, it was very foreign to me that there wasn't anybody that was reaching that market.
Were you shocked at all the lousy wallet designs that's in the cryptocurrency community? Because I mean, they are lousy. I mean, like I used to, I'm an art teacher. I have an art teaching background, so I mean, I can say that with a high degree of confidence that the majority of these Bitcoin cryptocurrency wallets have very, very lousy design. I mean, like the Bitcoin Core wallet, I mean, they desperately need some help.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty of this is like this technology didn't exist, and so it's designed by people that created a new revolution, and just to have it work at first was kind of a miracle in itself. Later down the road, years and years later, I think people will start to look and realize that that wasn't the best idea to have engineers design things. But you're right, and when I first came into it, I had a hard time because I wasn't really technical, and I just wanted something to be easy. And I had to get technical really quick. And so a lot of those foundations laid the foundation for why we built Exodus.
So were you gravitated into the cryptocurrency world because of the poor design and you said, man, I got to fix this problem? Or was it because of the cryptocurrency movement in general? Or was it just a combination of both?
It was a combination of the freedom movement, because I believe that people should be able to control their own assets. I believe that people should be able to make their own choices and have freedom of those type of decisions. But also when I came into it, I really saw a need, just a clear need for somebody to step up to the plate and bring high-end user experience to this platform, because I feel like that right now it's just kind of like, it's geeks and computer people that are really into this. But in order to bring the mainstream, the big market players into this, people that want to diversify their 401k and say, take a 10% allocation and move it into blockchain assets, you're going to need something that they can approach. And that's where I feel like we're bringing some solutions to the table, because that just isn't there yet.
Okay. And okay, so let's switch over to your co-founder and your buddy here, JP. So what's your background, JP? How did you get into Bitcoins, and how did you meet Daniel?
Yeah, so I went to the local university here, and I have an engineering background. I have 2 engineering degrees, and I've been moonlighting businesses since my early 20s. And in around 2009 is when I knew that the mobile app ecosystem would be huge. And so I started developing iOS apps, specifically sports apps. And we had a successful exit in 2011, but it wasn't enough that I could just quit my day job and retire forever. About this time, with the financial crisis happening a couple of years before that, I knew that I was really upset because I felt that both parties sold out the American citizen, and I felt that something needed to be done about this. And so when I discovered Bitcoin in 2012, I realized, like, oh, wow, this is the first time I can actually take my engineering background and potentially have an impact and give people control of their wealth. So what I did is, it was early 2014, I decided, I'm like, okay, what needs to happen in Bitcoin? And so I built a mobile app, and the mobile app, it was called Coinbolt. And it's kind of funny because I was really proud of it. It was a Bitcoin wallet. And I remember I went out to a meetup in Silicon Valley, and I was showing some people. And this one guy told me, he's like, wow, that looks like a kindergartner designed that. And I after he said that, I'm like, you know what? You're right. It looks horrible. And it was exactly like you'd expect. An engineer designed it. And so about this point in time, like, wow, if only I could, find a designer or somebody to help me out, this would be awesome. Circle came out, Coinbase came out, Apple started allowing Bitcoin wallets on their store, and Circle and Coinbase did a much better job. About the same time, I was going to some entrepreneurial meetups locally, and I met somebody that was like, you've got to meet Daniel. He's really big into Bitcoin. And at that point, I'm like, no. I know everybody in Nebraska that's into Bitcoin, and I haven't met Daniel
like three
yet.
people?
So, yeah,
Three
exactly.
people.
Yeah, the three of us, yeah. And so the guy introduced us, and I'm like, let's meet, let's talk about this. And so we met, and we just talked about cryptocurrency the whole time. And so for the next year, while I was still I was still stuck on building this mobile wallet that I had, and this crappy, ugly mobile wallet. And I was talking to Daniel about cryptocurrency, and we both really enjoyed buying and selling cryptocurrencies and speculating and investing. We just thought it was a lot of fun. But what was really, really unique is that we discovered that the both of us, this is the first time that I had ever met somebody who had a majority of their net worth in Bitcoin, just like me. I've never met anybody like that. I'm like, okay, this guy is as crazy as I am. So we've got to do something about, I actually have to build something. And then that's when we came to the conclusion that, well, after Mt. Gox and everything that's happened, all these exchanges are getting hacked. People are losing money. They're giving up their privacy. They're, giving up their LinkedIn profile. It's nuts. So we decided that, we can build something better. We can take Daniel's design skills and my engineering background, and we can actually build something to make a difference.
Okay. So when did you guys actually start on this Exodus wallet project?
I started designing some of the initial sketches in the summer of would have been 2015. The summer of 2015, I started sketching Exodus for the first time. So we've been in hiding for a long time, making this. And as JP was talking, I actually got to thinking a little bit that we do hold our net worth in crypto assets. And I actually used to have, and I still do, a spreadsheet that I would have to I literally would have to manually calculate. Like anytime the markets would change, I would have to go through and manually calculate all these positions to figure out where I was, because I just didn't know where things were. And so for us,
today, Daniel.
What's that?
We do that today. That's what we do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's actually, if you want me interrupting you there real quick,
Yeah.
that's actually the main reason that Leon and I were looking so heavily at y'all's wallet, was because we are manually keeping track of our investments. And it's funny that JP said that Daniel was the first guy he ever met that most of his net worth was in crypto. Well, you just met two more, me and Leon.
All right.
Yeah.
But well, I'll say this: it's not because I put the majority of my net worth in crypto. It became that.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what happened. That's what happened to us. As well.
Yeah.
I was the other way. I did put the majority of my net worth into it, and it has also grown to become the majority of my net worth. So I took the other route, because I was a firm believer that if you believe in something, put your money where your mouth is at.
Yes.
Yeah, we think the same thing. We think we're building, we dog food Exodus constantly, and we're making sure that it's working for what we're doing. For us, I can relate to you guys, because I hated opening my spreadsheets and being like, okay, let's see, Litecoin's here, Bitcoin's here, now where's Ethereum? And then everything has to balance out. And Exodus is now taking care of a lot of that for me. Now, you'll see our future path in Exodus is going to support, events and things that will start to do different charts and graphs, because these are things that are personal to us. And I think that sounds like we have the same kind of needs.
Okay. So the other thing too is that, what would you say, let's look at into, so now we know how you guys got together, started the project and everything. What would you say is the niche market, or the target that you guys are targeting, or the type of users that you guys are targeting? Because I noticed that everybody else makes their wallet just for the users, but you guys have something that's a little bit different. One is that I noticed that in your videos, tutorials and stuff, you talk about having an asset of a portfolio, and you're the first person I've seen that describes a wallet in terms of, this is your assets, this is your portfolio, and you compare it to a 401k or an IRA. And just real quick, for anyone that is outside the U.S., an IRA or a 401k, those are the two most popular forms of retirement portfolios that Americans have in the United States. So pretty much anybody that works for a Fortune 500 company in America will have a 401k where they contribute a portion of their income to it each month, and then the company will match it, and then all their money is stored in their savings, is stored in that 401k. And you're the first person I've seen that compares your wallet to a portfolio. You're not looking at just a wallet, but it's an asset portfolio of products and that you are investing in. And what made you go down that path, right?
Yeah, no, you nailed it. We first, our terminology we talk about is blockchain assets. We believe it's an asset. People that say that things are coins, we feel like that's a really short-term view of things. We believe that people hold assets, and you will hold a bunch of assets in your time. Exodus was created to allow, when you asked us initially, who's our target market? We want to help people diversify their wealth into blockchain assets. And what that means is we don't see you buying a coin, for instance, or if you wanna be a trader, you can go and trade coins or trade these things quickly. But what we see is we're creating wealth for generations. We want to have people hold these things for a long period of time. And you see in Exodus, one of the major, when you look at our screenshots, the major portion we focus on is our portfolio view. Because we think diversifying assets is one of the most important things that an investor should do. You can't put all your eggs in one basket, and you have to diversify. And Exodus is geared to allow new users that aren't used to cryptocurrency to come in and say, I want to take a 20% position in Bitcoin, 30% position in Litecoin, 10% in Doge, whatever in Ethereum, and start to see how that works out as an overall strategy for the long term.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because one of the things that a lot of the viewers don't know is that Leon and I, in the background, we actually have an asset allocation model that we use.
Yes.
Right? Except it's so complicated because we don't have an easy user interface to share it with people. So because of that, we, even though we broadcast about investing in cryptocurrencies all the time, it's really hard for us to explain to people, over the internet, how to, like, if they have, let's say they have $1,000 or $10,000 worth of Bitcoins, how much do you put into each cryptocurrency that you invest in? And so it's something that has been really bugging the hell out of us, because between the two of us, we understand how to do it through trial and error, but to share it with somebody else without some kind of visual representation, it's just too complicated, and we don't want people to screw up and mess it up and blame it on us. So we just kept quiet about it and never explained to people how to actually allocate a certain portion of their Bitcoin portfolio into Ethereum, or a certain portion into Factum, or a certain portion into other risky, and depending upon how risky it is, how to allocate it. And if the way that your wallet is set up, it makes it so much easier to do that. Matter of fact, as we are talking, I'm going to do this just so that everyone can see what we are talking about, in case they have not seen it already. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen with everyone just so that they can see the wallet. Okay, so as you guys are talking, people know what we're talking about. All right.
Sure. Okay.
So I have a question for you guys. So even today, there are thousands of hundreds to thousands of blockchain assets with more coming out every single day.
Yep.
What's your strategy on how you add them and how, like, if I want to buy Mooncoin or something, what's going to be your strategy for, you know, are you going to have to like update the software every time you want to add a new asset to Exodus, or you know, how can you just speak as to, I'm sure you've thought about this, is like, how are you going to make the decision as to what gets included, and also what's the methodology on including new blockchain assets as they come out?
So
JP, you want to take that?
Yeah, there's two questions there. So the first is on criteria to add new assets. The first thing is that it must have a high trade volume. We prefer somewhere in the top 20, you know, for at least a month or so. And it also has to be supported on Shapeshift. Like Daniel said earlier in the call, that actually this was before that we went live, but that every asset must behave the same. And so if it's not on Shapeshift, we can't have an asset behave differently. So it has to be on Shapeshift. And then it kind of goes along with kind of market demand, what we're seeing internally, and can we make this asset work well within Exodus? And then to address the question about how, you know, these assets coming out really quickly and how we can do that in Exodus and push out updates, we are eventually, Exodus is eventually going to have auto updates built in, and this will give a seamless upgrade experience for users of Exodus. They can just say, hey, there's an update available. Do you want to update? Click OK, one click, and it's updated, and then they would have Exodus support with the latest assets.
Okay, so I have you know, so we, if you watch our channel, you know that we do participate in, say, a lot of ICOs, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, ICOs don't have a market and are not going to be thinly, you know, they're not going to be heavily traded. But, you know, many of these, even Ethereum started out as an ICO, if you recall, right? So what about things like, I understand why, you know, why it has to integrate with Shapeshift and it has to so that it all behaves the same. But is it possible for Exodus just to say, look at like watch only addresses, or just be a regular wallet for these other kinds of assets? Is there methodology so that, I mean, I think you want, the goal is that I can manage all my blockchain assets in Exodus. I think that's the ultimate vision, and correct me if I'm wrong on that, but there's going to be many blockchain assets that don't fit the criteria that you just described. And how do you have a strategy on how you would take care of that?
I can say a couple things. JP, do you have any comments?
No, you can take this.
Okay. So our first primary thing for Exodus today, and remember, Exodus was released July 29th of this year. So we're getting to be 2 months in the world right now. So our very first primary objective here is to be the easiest, most approachable, just blockchain asset manager today. Long term, you know, Exodus will have the ability for other users later on, when we open up the application to other people that could build like APIs or plugins on top of it. People could actually start to plug into Exodus and build their own kind of environments inside of Exodus. What this allows you to do is, for example, if you look at Exodus on the left-hand side, there's like a bunch of different like tabs right now. You could think of those like browser plugins, so to speak. So the portfolio is like a plugin, the wallet is a plugin, the exchange is a plugin. Eventually, we'll open that up so users can decide if they want to use Exodus. Say they want to create a new crypto project. Instead of using maybe Bitcoin QT or forking that, they'll just say, we're just going to use Exodus and write a plugin for it. And then they could go ahead and do that. That wouldn't put the onus on us as a company to do it, but it would allow other people to kind of put their assets inside of Exodus. But initially for us to get back to this is that it's really important for us to be able to let people approach Exodus that never have touched a blockchain asset before and feel comfortable with them. And once they start to feel comfortable with them, I think we can migrate and get to some of these more advanced users.
Okay, all right. So I guess the plugin model, like if somebody starts a new cryptocurrency project, they could, you know, maybe a year or two down the road, they could then plug in, and then I could manage, like even somebody doing like an ICO could.
You could really do whatever you want. I mean, JP could talk a little bit about the technology behind how Exodus is built, but there's some really cool things that we're using inside Exodus to allow other people to kind of plug into those architectures. And if you want to, you know, dive down that rabbit hole, we're happy to.
So basically what you're saying is this then, are you saying that right now it has those coins, but in the future when you allow plugins, other cryptocurrency teams can plug in and allow their coins to be stored inside the Exodus wallet? Is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct.
I just want to chime in and say that's really cool. That's excellent. That's really good.
So how secure is that? So let's just say I'm going to use this as an example because we just did an interview with Chris Truth, the founder of the Stratus platform. He's developing the first platform on the, what is it, Leon, the C# or on C#. So let's just say that they don't have a wallet yet. So let's say that they want to use your wallet, the Exodus wallet. Are you telling me that once you guys have all the plugins and everything set up, that they can just plug into the Exodus wallet and create the Stratus wallet inside, or just how does that work?
Yeah, so you can think of Exodus like a combination of a web browser and a cryptocurrency platform. So Exodus actually plugs into all of the peer-to-peer networks, with the exception of Ethereum right now, but that's coming, for every coin network. And there's a layer of code where a developer can say, okay, I need to grab this peer-to-peer toolbox and plug it in here. And I need to, all of a sudden, I need to use these HTML web technologies and plug it in here and then bridge those two together. So you can think of it, like I said, like a cross between a web browser and a platform to build cryptocurrency and blockchain asset applications.
Yeah, I was going to say it kind of sounds like a Chrome blockchain wallet almost. With,
right. And under the hood, we're using a lot of web technologies to push this forward. But yes, to answer the question in big terms, we will eventually down the road allow other people to start to plug into this because we're building the base right now. You can think of this like, you know, Chrome's building the base of your browser, but if you want to add plugins or extensions to it, you can do that in Chrome. And Exodus will be the same way. You say, I want to add an extension, they'll write an extension for it, and then it'll be up to them to support that extension.
Okay, and how far down the line do you see that happening? Is that something that's going to happen?
Oh man, the
this
good
year?
questions, huh, Leon? The good questions, huh?
Viewers want to know.
I think that's still going to be a ways away because we still need to achieve the goals of adding more assets, building up the trading, hardware support, hardware wallet support. So it's a little ways away, but we would like to have, I mean, sometime soon, at least have a sneak peek or a preview where we can do something minor, where you can build minor extensions with what's already there. But to answer your question, is building entire apps on top of Exodus, that's probably at least a year or so away.
Now, earlier you guys mentioned that you're looking for, right now you're only looking to add the coins that are accepted by Shapeshift. Now, are you guys doing that for a security reason, a personal reason, a business reason? Because I know that Eric Voorhees is the owner of Shapeshift, and I think that he's on the front page of your website, an investor in Exodus. Are you guys doing that? I mean, is there like a what do you call that? Is there a bias towards coins that are accepted through Shapeshift because of Eric Voorhees, or is there a technological reason or security reason why you guys will only do the coins right now that are accepted by Shapeshift?
That's a good question. Initially, what it is we need to allow every asset to trade for every other asset. So what happens is, for example, if you have Dogecoin right now and you go to Poloniex and you decide you want to trade Dogecoin for Litecoin, you can't do it. There's no market pair for that. So you have to go back to Bitcoin and then trade for Litecoin. It's really important to us to allow just the seamless possible so people can just do whatever they want with these assets. What Shapeshift allows us to do is two things. It allows us to have every coin behave the same. So if you have a bucket of assets here and they're worth this much value, I can trade it for this bucket of assets worth this much value. And there's no education to talk to somebody about, oh, wait, there's no liquidity in this market, or, oh, wait, there's no trading pair here. All that's just gone. It's taken out the window. And then the second thing that Shapeshift adds for us, this is really important. Exodus minimizes counterparty risk. And what that means, it's a really big term and a way to say that you hold on to your assets and you control them for as long as possible. So when you're making these exchanges on an exchange and you're sending stuff to an exchange, you're sending them your assets and you're trusting them. With Exodus, you have your assets, and when you do the exchange, there's only a very brief temporary period where you're saying, I'm going to send these 1,000 Dogecoins and I'd like these, Litecoins back. And there's a few minutes in there where they're holding your assets, and that's it. You're not trusting anybody with anything else. So those are the two main reasons why Shapeshift has become a partner there.
Yes, but Daniel, I'll to counter your point.
Yes.
The reason we use Poloniex is because they offer features that Shapeshift doesn't have, like limit orders and there's a bunch of things Poloniex. That's why we use centralized exchanges despite all the security risk. And unless you add features like limit orders and an order book and all of this, the things that Poloniex does, and Fidelity and Charles Schwab and all of that, they do very similar things. Don't you feel that that's going to limit adoptions because users need that? That's why they use these centralized exchanges despite the risks, because they offer service. Yeah,
this is great. You're taking me right to my next point. I mean, I couldn't have bridged this gap any better. So, today Exodus has market orders, and if you want to place an order on Exodus, you're correct. You do it for market value. The next major upgrades to Exodus and the things that your audience is going to be really, really excited about, which is the things that JP and I are really, really excited about, is Exodus will support limit orders, and they will support all these advanced features to be able to do those things. But not only that, but without counterparty risk as well.
Okay, so how are you going to do that? How are you going to do a limit order? Like if I say I only want to pay 500,000 Satoshis for Factum, for example, okay, that's my limit. I don't want to pay more than 500,000 Satoshis. How am I going to have that order without you holding my Bitcoins to execute?
JP, do you want to take that?
Well, we can't get into too many of the details there, but I mean, just if you were to take a real simple, like naive approach to that, like an implementation to that, what you could do is simply have a monitoring service of some sort that would monitor market prices and then execute trades on your behalf. And you could use some kind of multi-sig implementation to retain security on your end. Now, on how exactly we're going to do that, I can't get into too much details right now, but that's briefly how that would work.
Okay. So okay, I'm gonna hit the pause button before we go any further here, because you just said something that is just it's very mind-boggling here. Okay, so I just want to explain this to the audience real quick before I pose a question to you guys. Okay, so when you guys talk about a counterparty risk, what that means is that there's no middleman. Because right now, whenever we buy or sell any kind of cryptocurrency on the Poloniex or a Coinbase or any exchange, the exchange is the middleman. So if I want to buy something from JP or JP wants to buy something from me, there's a middleman there called Poloniex or Coinbase to make the exchange, right? And in your launch video, you said, JP, you said that there's no reason for the exchange to ask who you are, where you got the money from, or where you're sending the money to. And I really believe in that. I really believe that your money is your money. That's not nobody else's business. What you do with it, who you send it to, as long as you're not committing a criminal act or something.
Right.
And if you are, there needs to be an indictment or something, or a subpoena from the courts. Not that there's no business. You can't just go in there and assume that somebody's doing something illegal just because they have money, right? And that really triggered. I really like that idea. But when you say that you can place limit orders in there without a counterparty, without that middleman in between, right? You don't have to go into the exact technical details. You're the technology guy behind Exodus, and I'm sure you don't want to reveal the secrets of how you're doing it, so that so it doesn't get copied by other wallet makers. But you're telling me that you guys are working on it so that when I use the Exodus wallet, I can put limit orders in, stop orders in, buy orders, and sell orders in. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that correct?
We are working on advanced trading features in Exodus. And what those advanced trading features are is what you talked about. Limit orders, stop orders, those type of things. We can't, you're right, we can't go into tons of details about how we're going to do this, but just from your audience perspective and your question, I just want people to know that when they see, the point of this is of us talking to you guys about this is when you see Exodus today, you're correct. You can trade in Exodus with just market orders, and we realize that. Like when we put it together, it was our step one of getting to this process. But I can guarantee you that when JP and I both make trades, we don't use market orders most of the time unless we're trading through Exodus. We want just a quick trade. So the long-term view of Exodus is we want to be able to allow traders to be able to trade assets inside of Exodus and limit their counterparty risk as much as possible, but also have these advanced trading features. So that's our big goal here.
So that what that means, right? That means that when you guys get that task, that feature available in the Exodus wallet, that means that new traders and investors to cryptocurrency no longer need to open up an account with Coinbase or with Poloniex or anything like that.
Man, you guys are just taking all of our good one-liners. You guys are taking all of our business one-liners. What's going on?
No. If you guys are able to do that, man, that is going to be a huge game changer. Because I have several friends, around me, including my Indian driver, right?
Oh, your Indian. Oh, yeah, we've seen him in the other videos.
Yeah. Even my Indian driver will not. He's like, when I told him about Coinbase and Poloniex, and he just rolled his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, come on, man! Don't tell me I got to go through all that just to buy a Bitcoin or convert a US dollar." If you're telling me that someone can just download the Exodus software and install it on their computer, and within a couple of minutes, and put their Bitcoins in there and be able to buy whatever cryptocurrency they want, without having to fill out a bunch of stupid applications and submit their driver's license and social security number and everything, that is going to be a huge game changer in the cryptocurrency world.
Like, people can do this today with Exodus. Like, because of the Shapeshift engine powering it, you can do this today. We do not touch fiat, so everybody's clear from a audience perspective. If you have dollars and US dollars, you cannot put them into Exodus. We start with cryptocurrency only, and we deal with cryptocurrency only. And so you can do this today with Exodus. You just can't do advanced features like Leon was asking about.
Yeah, I can't, like, by using Shapeshift, you're still at this point in time, you're limited by Shapeshift, right? Like,
correct.
If I want to buy 20 Bitcoins worth of Factum, I can't do that through Shapeshift because they don't have the liquidity. They can't quote me a price beyond whatever their limits are, right?
You're correct. There's currently limits associated with it, and you're currently buying everything at market order. So in Exodus today, it's going to be easy, seamless transactions, but you're not going to get your best prices. And you're definitely, if you want liquidity and advanced trading features, Exodus is not a platform for you to be able to do that with today.
It's really good for beginners, though. For the people that are just getting into cryptocurrencies, they're not going to be trading 50 or 100 Bitcoins anyway.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so here's an example. Like my mom wants to get into cryptocurrency, right? So she goes out, she takes $2,000 and she gets Bitcoin. She puts it in Exodus, and then she just goes, I want this much Dogecoin, this much Litecoin, this much Ethereum, and she just allocates her portfolio, and then she just closes it and then just leaves it for probably 3 or 4 years. And that's just what she did. Now, did she get the best price on any of those trades? No, she didn't. Did she execute limit orders? No, she just diversified her portfolio and went forward. So today, that's where we're at. We painted a picture of a vision of where we want to be, but we're not there yet.
Okay. Hey, because I do want to let the audience know that I have used Shapeshift in the past, and I remember I think there was a $2,500 limit or something like that when I tried to get. I was just doing some testing, and I tried to.
Tai, it depends on what you're trading.
Yeah, at that time I was trading Ethereum, and then this was several months ago, earlier in the year when Ethereum was very volatile. And I was trying to get in, and I was just testing to see what the limits were of how much you can get in, and that took some time. It just won't let me go beyond $2,500. I want to welcome Chuck from Tampa, Florida.
Hey, Chuck.
Yeah, he's also from the Ethereum Classic community. He's
man, we're getting invaded by Ethereum Classic people.
Well, listen, I'm also an economist. I have a degree in economics. I've done a little trading myself, and I do hold Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So I am very interested to hear in how your wallet differentiates from other wallets. So I'd really like to hear about that.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like Bitcoin QT.
Yeah. Speaking of difference, what Chuck just brought up, let me ask you guys this. This is such an obvious problem in the cryptocurrency world. How come? Is there anybody else doing this? Are you guys the only ones doing this, or do you guys have the early mover advantage in this arena?
I think you see like BitSquare, at least from a decentralized marketplace, has started doing this, but they don't. It's my understanding they don't have the volume that people would like to see, and I don't know. I haven't actually ever used BitSquare, so I don't know why that is or what's going on. I don't know if it has to do with user experience, but I definitely think that a decentralized exchange with a great user experience can really encourage people to use these sorts of technologies.
And so one thing I'd have a question is, are you guys afraid of jacks? Because they seem, at least on the surface to me, they seem to be your main competitors, what I would think. Do you believe, as far as competition, because there's dozens of wallets out there, and there's going to be even more wallets. Is competition something you're concerned or worried about? Especially, Jax is done by a former Ethereum founder, and
Anthony,
well funded.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually know Anthony. We spent time with him at Satoshi Roundtable. We're friends. We don't see this as a competitor. Like to us, the major competitor here is I want to keep people's assets off exchanges and minimize their way to get hacked. If there's other platforms here that doing this, and believe me, I believe there will be other players to this market. So today it's Exodus. Jax actually, if you want a mobile, for example, if you want a mobile device that can sync between all platforms, we tell people today, go use Jax, because Exodus does not have a mobile play at all. We don't. We have a desktop play, and we believe people want to hold their portfolio of assets on their desktop. I don't want to hold my portfolio of assets on my mobile device and walk around with it. I just personally don't. Now, Exodus will have a mobile play later, but it's our area of focus right now. So from a competition standpoint, I think those guys are doing a great job, and I would actually like to see more people enter this space, because Jax also has a great plan on design. I mean, they have a great designed platform. It's good, user friendly. They support your buddies over here on this list, Ethereum Classic, which we haven't got to yet. So I love that there's diversification in the space, because I would actually like to see more. I love Anthony also has a focus on design, and we want to help each other get people to protect and own their own assets.
Okay, so how are you guys getting users right now? Because we can say all this all we want, but what it comes down to is this, is that the wallets that are going to succeed are the ones that get users to use it, right? So what is the game plan, or what is the strategy that you guys have for acquiring users? That's the first question. The second one is, how do you guys know? Is there a way that your software, the Exodus wallet, tracks how many users are using it, or how many accounts are available on Exodus?
That's a good question. I'll take the first one. JP, you want to take the second one?
Yep.
About the track? Okay. So how are we getting users? Our initial goal with Exodus, so we worked on it for about a year undercover, and we literally put it out July 29th with no fanfare. We posted on Reddit a long time ago, like I think 8 months ago, just to get beta users. And we specifically don't advertise. We don't tell people about it. We just didn't want anybody to find out about it, because we wanted a slow growth. We felt like if we could get 10 users and then just get their feedback, we'd be stoked on life. And then we'd go for 20 users and then 50. Unfortunately, our idea about putting it out there and just keeping it secret did not go so well, and everybody started writing articles. People were doing YouTube reviews. Everyone was sharing with everybody, and so we were grateful for that. It's awesome. Our user base has grown.
Well, that's the Facebook model, right? You keep it secret, you make it exclusive, and everybody wants it. So
yeah, I guess that's true. We'd hoped we could, continue to take their feedback and make Exodus better and better before we went out. Now, just so everyone knows, like we don't advertise. We don't go to Reddit and post and say, hey, use this. We don't buy any marketing things. We don't want any more huge amounts of traffic right now until we get this to a point where we're just really, really happy with it. If you like Exodus and you want to use it, we're not telling you not to use it, but what we're saying is we're not aggressively going after users yet.
And is there a way for you? The second question was: is there a way for you to track and monitor how many users are using, how many people are using Exodus?
Yeah. So right now there's a backup system in Exodus, and what we can do is we can see how many backup files are on the server. And just to be clear, these backup files don't contain private keys or anything like that. They are encrypted files that contain metadata only, transaction metadata like exchange rates and those sorts of things. And so we can take a count on the number of backup files on the server, and that gives us an idea, oh, okay, there must be this many users using Exodus.
And we have a different model, so that, like, I could tell you how many downloads Exodus has, but that doesn't matter to us, because somebody can download Exodus 10,000 times. What we really care about is people storing assets in the product and using it. And so what this allows us to do is it allows us to say, how many backup files do we have? We don't know who has them. We don't know what's in them. We just know that there's this many backup files on the server.
So here's something that I noticed, and this is something that I noticed that based on what you're telling me, because when I was downloading and I used it, I noticed that it won't let you back up any files until you actually deposit funds into it.
Right.
And I think at first I thought, well, this is weird. I mean, like, all the other wallets lets me send coins to it without requesting a backup, and this one does not let you back it up until you actually put some coins in there. But now, based on what you guys said about being able to tell how many people are using it, that makes a lot of sense, and it actually helps you guys know how many users are actually using it, because we can have 10 people download the software, but if nobody's actually putting coins into it, then it's not really being used. It's just the number of downloads.
Exactly.
So, was that like intentionally done for marketing reasons, or was that intentionally done for security reasons, or what made you guys decide to take that route where you cannot back up your wallet until you put coins into it?
So we had long discussions about this, a lot of them, and it was really important for us to have people be able to, like, test the waters first and just be able to see how things work. So I want somebody to be able to download Exodus and then deposit $1 or something into it and just start to see if it works. We tell all of our users, download Exodus, put $1 in, exchange it, move it around, and see if you like it or not. That way, for us, it allows the person to kind of, get used to the software. But most importantly for us, what it really allows us to do is, I didn't want to get on, a show like this and say, oh, we have 30,000 downloads. it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. All it means is you have 30,000 people that download your software. When we can say our conversion rate, so I can say I have this many downloads, fine, but now I can actually say I have this many people actively using the software. That's a powerful metric.
Yeah, because that's if you guys do it like that by counting the number of backups, because you can't back it up unless you actually put coins into it.
Correct.
Right? Then that's a more accurate count than just the downloads. And so you can actually count how many users are using your software without being like the quote unquote big brother NSA type looking over to see how many people actually have money in their account.
Right. And
right.
JP,
To add to that, the backup files themselves are artificially filled with garbage, so that we can't tell that if they change in size. So that alone, because if let's say if you have a very, 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 very tiny backup file, and then you have and there's another one that's larger, then it becomes obvious. Okay, this person is really using Exodus a lot more than this other person. And again, these are all just hashes. We can't see names or anything like that. So we have the backup files are filled with garbage to kind of inflate those numbers. So if a backup has a small amount or large amount, we can't tell. And so since these backup files cost resources on our end, we feel that it's a fair trade. Hey, just put 30 cents in Exodus or $1 in Exodus and play with it, and then back up if you feel comfortable, and use the backup resources when you feel comfortable with it.
What are these garbage files exactly?
No, it's a metadata file that contains encrypted metadata of the transactions. But when starting out, let's say if you have 0 transactions, it's just filled with random numbers, just random data to inflate the file size, so you can't tell on the server. If we get subpoenaed, we can't tell the difference.
Yeah, because as a user, if you tell me there's all these extra files, it rings alarm bells. But that, as long as you explain it, I don't really think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I really like the fact that you show a portfolio of all the currencies and like how much you have total. Do you only do that in US dollars, or are you doing that in euros and other currencies as well?
Right now, Exodus only shows prices in US dollars. But yes, we will eventually be able to allow you to show US currencies and other currencies, rubles, whatever you want.
Yeah, I have a question. Since you guys are running your crowd sale on Bank to the Future,
it's not a crowd sale, but it's more of an investment.
A fundraiser.
Fundraiser, yeah.
It's a convertible note.
I want people to think that Exodus is an asset that they can go buy, because we have people now asking us like, "Can I get into Exodus coin?" And that's not it.
Let me rephrase that. I think the term on Bank to the Future is it's a convertible note.
Yes, correct.
That's what it is. So this might be a Bank to the Future. So the convertible note says a minimum of 200,000, which you guys have reached. Congratulations. But then it also says that the maximum is 250,000, and it's currently overfunded. I think at the moment, the last time I checked, it's around 270,000.
Yeah.
Can you explain what does that mean when it's overfunded? What happens to the extra funds?
Yeah, it's a good question. We had that question too. So first of all, it's a safe note. So everybody knows it's a YC safe note. So if you just type into Google YC safe note, these notes are used for Y Combinator companies. A lot of startup companies use them. It's a total standard play. Feel free to look that up if you'd like to do more research on it. To answer your question in general, how does overfunding work? So when we put our platform up on Bank to the Future, we had a timeline of what we thought we would get the funds in. We blew through that timeline so fast, and so it got funded, and now it's overfunded. What that means is now that it's overfunded, we actually are giving away more of the company. So an investor is not getting diluted at this point. We're actually giving away more of the company as it's getting.
Limit though? Is there a limit? Like
we will have to actually pull it off of Bank to the Future because we're getting too much funding at this point.
Yeah, because what happens if somebody's listening to this and they go test your software and they decide, hey, I want to invest into these guys, and they go in there and
you can
invest?
today. You can today, and if you want to, I mean, I'm not telling anybody to invest. I don't want to push anybody to do that. But what I'm saying is that we're talking about pulling it off Bank to the Future because we didn't realize the community would be so like aggressive with investing and like this so much. So we're overfunded already, and we probably will have to pull it off soon enough because we don't want to get. Well, if we double our funding and then we can't triple it and double it, we're giving away too much of the company at that point. So we will probably pull it off.
You guys are gonna drop $2 million. You guys are gonna have new bosses.
Exactly. If somebody's watching this and they want to go drop $2 million, please call me before you do, because we'd like to know you that you're our boss.
You guys might have a 9-to-5 schedule.
Yeah,
so.
right.
So what prompted you to go out and get funding, extra funding? What were you hoping to do? What is that funding for? Is that to hire more developers? What is the funding that you guys are looking to use it for?
So Exodus was just built by JP and myself. We're only 2 people, and we were self-funded. We're still self-funded. And we decided that we wanted to see if the community would like this as a play, as a target, to see if it was actually something that people would not only want to use, but also put their money behind, because we feel like there's 2 litmus tests here. If you use software, that's one thing. But if you put it out there and you say, hey, are you willing to invest in this? That's something completely different. So we wanted to see if the market would take this not only as a user base, but also as an investment platform. We now found kind of product market fit in both. So we're going to use these funds to expand the platform and start to actually get more aggressive on user upgrades, user features. We'll get more employees in Exodus and things like that. So things are just going to move a lot faster now, and we're happy. We're honestly, we're just really grateful for the community support.
Are you guys working on the Exodus project full time? Is that the only thing you do, or do you guys have a regular day job and then you just work on Exodus part time?
No, we both have been working on Exodus full time for over a year now.
Okay, and did you guys raise money before, like last year or something like that?
Exodus was completely owned by JP and myself, and we had raised no capital up until this Bank to the Future point. And then, as you said before, Eric Voorhees, the Shapeshift CEO, is also an investor in Exodus.
So is he just an investor, or does he own part of the Exodus business, or how does that work, or is that just private information?
Eric took a part of the Exodus investment. He actually had the same investment that everybody else will get on Bank to the Future. So if you go invest on Bank to the Future right now, you'll get the same terms that Eric Voorhees got. We're not playing any favorites here. And Shapeshift itself as a company also owns now a percentage of Exodus as well. So Eric owns a portion of Exodus himself privately as a person, and then Shapeshift itself as a company also has a stake in Exodus. The other portions of Exodus are JP and myself, and then now whoever invests in Bank to the Future, and that's it. It's a pretty simple rundown.
Do you guys, down the line, like a year, 2 years down the line, after you guys get some of these features added to the Exodus wallet, do you guys see yourself like, going out and raising a larger sum of money like Factum did, or something like that, where you guys run a Series A fundraising or anything like that?
Yeah, if the market continues to just get behind us and continue to download this and use this and just give us great feedback, we believe this could go just a lot further than we ever imagined.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any like so that the audience knows, like, what is considered good or excellent in the world of wallet providers? I mean, like, if you have 10,000 users, is that good, or you need to have 100,000 users to be considered good? Like, I mean, what is there a metric for that you guys know?
So for us, it's a little different, because remember, like, we're targeting investors that are trying to hold a large asset of portfolios with a high net worth. So we're bringing people in from the traditional space. I think, a regular wallet may target large quantities of users, but we feel like our users are going to be more higher end, want to hold a basket of assets over the long term. So for us, the value in the user is, are they moving their assets around? Are they trading their assets? Or are they holding a large quantity of assets? So Exodus really today is trying to build a trust model. You know, nobody knows JP. Nobody knows me. We're new in this space, and we are fully aware of that. We have some people behind us, like David Johnson at Factom just gave us a great quote that he used Exodus and he thought it was the best blockchain experience. Eric Voorhees just tweeted out a quote and said Exodus was the best blockchain experience he's ever seen. So these are people that have some trust, but we know that we have a lot of work to do to build up trust in this ecosystem.
So,
I want to add to that real quick and say that it's also not so much about users, it's more about volume. And so daily volume and monthly volume and that. So volume is more important than users. If people are moving and trading funds, you know, that's ultimately how we're going to make money.
So that how did you guys
for you know, for your portfolio where you show how much you know, how much they have in US dollars, do you show like the history of, like, you know, because as an investor I'd love to know how I'm doing in September compared to how I did in July, how I did in May, how I did in January, to see if I'm actually growing my portfolio, to see if I'm actually doing the right things, investing, or if I'm losing, and if I'm losing a lot. You know, that's one of the things as an investor, as a user, that I want to keep track of. I want to keep a history of my investments and make sure that I'm doing the right things.
Yeah, today Exodus does not do that, but you're right. I want to do that personally. JP wants to do that personally. And so today it shows you your portfolio of assets of where you sit at that moment. We are going to add features where you can say over time, this is what your allocation was. This is the event that happened, or you deposited, you know, 1,000 Ethereum if you're lucky enough to have that into, you know, your portfolio at this point. So it allocated this much. So yes, again, today we're real new, and we know that. So Exodus as it sits is a real early 2-month in the world product. But yes, I absolutely would love to be able to do that as well.
Well, listen, I mean, it looks pretty good from what I see there. So I'm excited to see competition in the space, you know, against Jax, you know, because, you know, it's nice to have Jax, but it's nice to have a competitor against Jax. And I think you guys have some cool features that Jax doesn't have. And so if you guys do, you know, some other features that Jax doesn't have, I think you guys are going to get a lot of momentum towards that. And, you know, what is the timeline for some of these features? I mean, what are you planning to roll out soonest? And what are you, you know, because, I mean, obviously you have a lot of features in mind. You know, what's going to come sooner rather than later?
So right now, the assets that we're working on we try to keep it under wraps, but it's no longer under wraps anymore. We are working on Factom. I'm saying this now in a live channel. We're working on Factom. We're also working on Monero. JP's been working with the lead developer on Monero. The reason why these assets aren't inside Exodus yet is not because they don't work. They do work. We actually have private builds of them working today inside Exodus. The problem is that I can't give them to a user and expect the assets to work exactly the same. Monero is really tough to deal with, and the confirmation times are not instant. Factom's the same thing. So we're working with these asset providers to allow the asset to behave the same. When Factom can instantly tell somebody that they've received factoids, cool, it'll be in Exodus, you'll be ready to rock and roll. When I can launch the Monero wallet and I can just tell you what your balance is and you can know what you're gonna send and receive instantly, cool, that'll be inside Exodus as well. But if it's not, if I can't do that, we will hold assets back and say we don't believe that that's an Exodus user experience yet. So, but to answer your question,
I think that makes sense, because a lot of new users, if they don't see their money right away, they panic.
Yeah,
you know,
we make sure that we have to. I mean, that's why we chose to. We don't on some of the assets. We don't actually like go to a API and say refresh my asset. What's my wallet? Like, you don't have to click refresh in Exodus to see what your balance is. We actually directly connect to the asset network. So when you send Litecoin, you're going to see in Exodus, boom, Litecoin's going to show up because we're watching the Litecoin network. There's no API behind that. It's important to us because we're dealing with people's money here. And I don't know about you guys, but when I am, you know, sending and receiving some assets with some of these wallets, I literally like get nervous, like in my heart. I'm like, I hope I have this right. And that scares the crap out of me.
Because
So
crypto is unforgiving. Exactly. I think, and it's so refreshing to hear, let me tell you, coming
Yeah.
from the Ethereum space, where
Yeah.
they kind of don't respect the value of money so much. You know,
yeah,
it seems like they.
there was a lot of times when I had Mist open that I was like literally doing like prayers, and I was like, okay, I hope this like goes to the right spot.
I want to bring up, since you brought up Factum and Monero, I guess I wanted to speak to you or ask your opinions on Ethereum Classic, or what you guys think of that moving forward. And
Yeah. JP, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so essentially for Ethereum Classic, we've held off on it because we don't want to confuse our users. And so Daniel and I, we have this debate going back and forth on how we can do it in a user-friendly way. And what that would require is people were using Exodus before the hard fork. So they're going to have Ethereum and Ethereum Classic already.
right.
And so we need to provide a friendly way to bridge that over into Ethereum Classic. And then also when they're receiving Ethereum, and say somebody sent them a transaction and it got relayed on both networks, Exodus needs to pick that up on both networks. So
Right.
it's a deep user experience challenge that we've got to figure out. And we've placed a priority on Monero and Factum at this moment.
Yeah, I understand that.
Let me ask you a quick follow-up. Have you released the Ethereum Classic that people had, you know, during the hard fork? Because during the hard fork, if they had Ethereum, then they immediately had both. Correct. So have you released that?
Well, we don't have any control to release because we don't control the private keys. So when people ask us, hey, how do I get my Ethereum private key? Then I tell them how to do it. But we don't have the control to actually release the Ethereum Classic.
I think that's an important point you brought up also about the wanting to avoid confusion and the branding and stuff like that. Because I mean, personally, I can't speak for the entire community, but my personal opinion for Ethereum Classic, and I've posted this before on Reddit, and I talk about it in the Slack channel, is for a potential rebrand in the future. So it's interesting to hear that opinion from someone that's not in the Ethereum Classic camp, but a separate entity all on its own. That
I would personally love to support Ethereum Classic as long as our users are not confused, and they don't have that, because we'll get a lot of support requests. And remember, like, a lot of wallets today are targeting the crypto space. If you're in the crypto space, you understand what this is. But a lot of Exodus users are people that are just touching blockchain assets for the very, very, very first time. So I need to be able to explain the differences between those two, and we're excited to talk to you guys and definitely talk about potential.
I also wanted to bring up another point about earlier when you were talking about market and limit orders and stuff like that, and I think this speaks a lot to what you guys are doing. Anecdotally, I think a lot of the country, the people that are involved in 401ks and Roths and stuff like that, they're not really doing a whole lot of limit, and they just kind of allocate their resources accordingly. And I think that's an incredible market you guys are tapping into, which is, most of the country, most of the world doesn't day trade and limit order or anything. They just kind of put money away for later, and shapeshift, and what you guys have going on is a perfect thing for that. So I think the vision you guys have is really excellent. And I think limit orders are a great idea as well, but if down the road you guys don't end up implementing it, I don't see it as too much of a fault. And I think you're really going after the mainstream if you didn't do that. Although the limit orders would be great, but if you didn't, I don't see it as too much of a fault, to be honest, in my opinion.
Hey, I like to add this, man. Once you guys add the Monero, the Factum, and then the Ethereum Classic.
Oh, now we're adding Ethereum Classic.
Yeah. I'm just gonna assume that you guys are gonna do it, and I'm gonna put this out there. If you guys are listening to this and you own Ethereum Classic, I would tweet the hell out of these guys to get them to put it on there.
Here we go.
hey, just so you guys know, I have 50,000 followers ready to go.
So we're just gonna pound these guys until they put it on there.
Hey, also, you guys are pretty aligned with the way we generally do things. I've heard a lot about building a strong foundation and slowly growing from your user base, growing your user base into a large user base. And that's kind of the approach that the Ethereum Classic community takes. We're a foundation first, security first platform, and we're trying to grow our movement in the same way that you guys are growing. So I think we're pretty aligned with how we think and the road that we're taking moving forward. So nice to see other people in crypto that are into that methodology.
Yeah, and it was great to meet you guys as well. And offline,
Absolutely.
let's take these conversations and talk about the possibilities.
Yeah.
I think that the best way to convince these guys that you want Ethereum Classic on their wallet is to actually deposit an Ether Classic on there and back it up so that they can see that there's more users. That's the easiest way. Don't just download it. Here's the thing the reason why I bring this up, guys, is this. You know that Poloniex, when they listen to this, you know they're not going to be happy when you guys add Factom and Monero and Ethereum Classic to
Why
your
are they
wallet.
not? Why not?
Because it's going to take assets off of their exchange. And, I mean, that's the key, is that, like, right now, my Factom is stuck at Poloniex, and they can use that to loan it out to other people. Right?
Well, if Poloniex is watching this, maybe they should call us and we can talk to them about how we can get Exodus working with their engines.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should. I mean, they should definitely check that out, because I'll even tweet it out to them so that they can.
Great. Here we go.
Because here's the thing. Because I don't like the idea that I have my assets on Poloniex and I don't have no place safe to store it. That's the reason why I'm pushing for it to be on here. Right now, I'm using myetherwallet.com to store my Ether Classics, and I can't see nothing until I hit the send button. Now, I know the other days, thanks to Carlo and Chuck here, they told me that there's a Ethereum Classic wallet that's available by Elaine that's available out there. Yeah. But before that, I didn't know who that was and who it was, and I didn't know if it was reliable. Right, so I just stuck with myetherwallet.com and just stored it on there, even though they're preventing Ethereum Classic from being stored on there, but it can still be used, But I don't recommend that to people because you can't see the coins that you have on there until you hit the send button.
Yeah,
that's a great point too, because one of the things that has, one of the reasons I haven't gotten Monero, that I haven't gotten Factom, is I listen to the advice of other users and they tell me don't hold your cryptocurrency on an exchange unless you're going to trade it. And, if I can't hold Factom and Monero on anything other than an exchange, and I mean, for Monero, I think I need a whole node, and that's going to take me a whole day to download. As a beginner user, nobody wants to do that, and I don't even think Monero has brought out a GUI yet, right? I mean, it's still in the beta.
There's a web wallet for Monero.
Okay.
There is.
Okay. Yeah. So just making sure. But I mean, as a new user, it's nice to know that there's new wallets coming out for other cryptocurrencies, because Factom is one of the big ones. And even as an Ethereum Classic user, we look to them. They're a very interesting cryptocurrency that has some similar features. And it's nice to see other ones to diversify one's portfolio. And I mean, I'm a big Ethereum Classic guy, obviously, but, if I had large cryptocurrency holdings, I would definitely diversify into Factom.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. I was going to say as well, I think the more towards crypto, the more mainstream crypto becomes, it really lends itself to the platform you guys are creating. So I see a lot of growth for Exodus in the future. With what you guys are setting up, I'm pretty excited about it.
What do you guys see, like, to wrap up this interview with you guys? Give us just a outlook, like 5 years, 10 years, down the line. Where do you guys see the Exodus wallet? What can users expect to see in it?
JP, take that. You love that question.
I'll just say that NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and Dow Jones were coming for you. So the long-term goal is for people to be able to trade any financial asset. And because we believe that any traditional financial asset will move over to the blockchain and become a blockchain asset. And so when that happens, we'll be ready, and Exodus will be that platform to trade and store and manage your portfolio.
Okay, so most people know this, or in case they don't, you know, like Leon and I, we promote a lot on this channel things, the tools and the technologies and the strategies that help the little guy. You know, I mean, like when it caught my attention when I saw your launch video where you said, you know, those words resonate with me when you said that, hey, whatever you do with your money is your business. It shouldn't be anybody else's business. You know, no government or no person should come in and ask what you're doing with your money when you're sending it or receiving it, right? I hope that you guys stick to that concept. I hope that you guys stick to that philosophy and that principle, you know, and because if you guys keep going at the pace that you're going, you know, more than likely the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange or the Chicago Board of Trade, somebody's bound to see what you guys are doing. And if they want to step into the cryptocurrency space, more than likely it'd be easier just to buy you guys out, you know? And I hope that you guys don't sell out the little guys, man, to the guys on Wall Street, bro.
We have pretty firm beliefs in our moral values on what we believe that people should be able to do with their assets. And I can tell you that the reason why Exodus was born is because JP and I want to allow people to, you know, I want to pass my assets onto my family through my own, just in safe environment. And I want to be able, with Exodus, to be able to pass my children and my future children my wealth that nobody else should be able to seize, manage, or even know what's going on.
Okay, so if you guys have any questions, we'll take a couple of minutes here. If you guys have any questions from the audience for JP or for Daniel, if you guys can put the questions in the chat box and just tell us what city or country that you guys are from, we'll take those questions. Do you guys have any other questions, Carlo, Chuck, Leon?
No, Tai, I'm good. Thanks, Tai. I got to run here. So
thanks, Leon, for your time.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks, Leon.
Okay. We'll catch you later, Leon, and we'll wrap it up now. Okay. Hey, while we're waiting for the questions to come in, what is the best way for someone to contact you guys?
They can reach us on Twitter. I mean, we have all of our contact information on our website. We have phone numbers on there.
Exodus.io.
Exodus.io. Yeah, if you call that phone number, JP and I will answer our mobile device. Hello, hi, what's going on? Write to us. So there's plenty of ways. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, and if
what is your Twitter handle, by the way?
It's Exodus_IO.
Okay.
Well, if there are people watching this, you know, down the line, and they want to get involved with the Exodus wallet project, are you guys looking for developers, or if there's any talent that you guys are looking for, right? What specific talents are you guys looking for to join your team to help you with the software development?
One of our first goals is if you want to come join Exodus, you have to hold some of your worth in blockchain assets. We strongly believe that. We don't want people coming to work for Exodus because it's just a fun, sexy platform. We want you to kind of practice what you preach. If you do that, we absolutely are looking for talent. JP, do you want to talk about?
Well, I was just going to say that a company is probably, in my opinion, a company is one of the best ways to gather a group of like-minded individuals that believe the same thing and actually make a difference in this world. And so, like Daniel said, like you have to have skin in the game. You have to believe in crypto and cryptocurrency. And if you don't, and you just want to develop on a cool platform, then we're probably not the company for you to work at.
That's nice to hear. You know, it's nice to hear a little Nassim Taleb, you know, with cryptocurrencies. And so you guys pay your employees in Bitcoin, I would imagine? 100%? Or like, is there a percentage?
Nope, 100% in Bitcoin.
Awesome. That's great. I like hearing that.
In fact, just so you guys are aware too, our funding came in Bitcoin.
Okay, perfect.
We haven't, I mean, we had to open a bank account with Bank to the Future because it was one of the requirements for sign up, and we literally were like, we've operated our entire company without a bank account. What are we doing here? But
yeah, we will have some funding in US dollars, but most of it is Bitcoin, and so we will run the company primarily on Bitcoin.
Okay, that's nice to hear. You know, because you know, yeah, you that's the type of developers that are gonna believe in the platform, that are really gonna be diehard for, you know, because there are governments that will pay developers on the side to build in backdoors and whatnot. And if you have if you have developers that are willing to be paid in Bitcoins, I think those are going to be those people that are not going to fall for that type of bribery.
Right.
And it's sad to say that that's a concern, and it's a small concern. I'm not saying you guys you have anything to really worry about, but I mean it's a small concern as an investor, as a user for any type of program or app that I use. And I always scrutinize any app or platform that I use personally. And that's why I never got involved in the DAO, because I read the terms and conditions, and one of the terms and conditions was you could lose everything. So I was like, nope, no thanks.
Something I wanted to bring up for you guys also, as far as the market and limit orders are concerned, since I'm, I guess, less on the development side of things in the blockchain world, and I'm a little bit closer towards the mainstream audience. I know a lot of people who are starting to get into crypto or interested in blockchain, that they go on these exchanges like Poloniex or whatever it is, and they do market orders, and sometimes, to your point, they have to trade into Bitcoin just to get into something else. So, and I'm seeing that, more and more and more, since I'm pretty close to the mainstream with a lot of this. So something like Exodus would actually be helping them save even on some fees there, because
they have to go back and forth.
And also, a lot of these guys that are interested in these altcoins, they're as far away from expert traders as you can get. So when they do these market trades to BTC and then try to get into a smaller altcoin, as soon as they try and buy a little bit, the bots start bidding it up.
Yeah,
and get killed. So I think for the mainstream, I'm really seeing the beauty in your platform. I really like it. Wish you guys the best of luck.
Thanks.
We have a couple of questions coming in, some valid questions from the chat box here. One of them is from Joshua from North Carolina, right up the street from where I'm at right now. And he says, why would I choose Exodus over established exchange? I'll answer that real quick, and then I'd like to get your feedback on an answer from you guys also. The big difference between using Exodus to instead of the established exchanges is that you don't have to provide any identity. You don't have to give up your driver's license, your social security number. You don't even have to give up who your name is or anything. You just download the software, send Bitcoins to it, and once the Bitcoins are there, you can buy any cryptocurrency, exchange it for any cryptocurrency you want using the Shapeshift engine. So if you are somebody that does not want to reveal your identity and give it up to somebody just to be involved in cryptocurrencies, the Exodus platform is excellent for that. The only downside I see at the moment is that it does not allow you to be able to do that with a large volume. Like if you were trying to get like 10, 20, 50, $100,000 worth of cryptocurrencies, you still have to go through the exchange for that.
Yeah, so, I think that's a great, I mean, I couldn't have said any better myself. I think that it's just, there's two different plays here, and some people may even want to trade on an exchange, and we're okay with that too, but use Exodus to store your assets. Remember, the whole goal here is like, don't keep your assets on an exchange. We've all seen this time and time again. It's going to keep happening. Central storage of wealth creates a target for thieves. It's never going to change, and that's always going to be that way. So if you can protect yourself, whether you're trading on an exchange or not, try to limit your risk. Even if you don't use Exodus, we don't, I mean, obviously we want you to, but we don't care. We'd rather have you just pull your assets off the exchange. Use anything, but just don't keep them on an exchange.
Right, because we all saw what happened with Bitfinex. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't every account lose, I don't know, 30%? And so the customers paid for that hack. And that's just not acceptable. And using Exodus protects you from that.
Hey, when you say protect, right, do you guys have anybody auditing your wallet? I mean, you're new on the scene and everything. How can the users be confident that your wallet is secure and it's safe like you guys claim it to be? Like, I'm not a technical person, so how would I know for sure that your wallet is safe and secure like you guys claim?
Right. We've had one security audit today. We just wrapped up about a month ago. I actually haven't asked the individual or the company if I can publish that yet or publish their name, but we have had one. and we would like to have another one before the end of the year or early 2017. So we're going to have regular security audits.
And these are some of the same reasons why we talked about earlier, like slowly growing our user base. Like we don't want to come out and just claim that everything's, you know, roses and lollipops from the beginning. We believe in the slow growth user base, and we're trying to protect as many people as possible. So yes, over time this will get better. You see big names behind Exodus, so you know that you can trust it from that play. But you know, again, we are new on the scene, and we're fully aware of that. We have to build reputation and trust.
Yep.
Need a foundation to build a building.
There's another question about from David Patton here. He asked when the Exodus wallet will feature Factom. I know we asked you guys earlier, but I don't know if there was a deadline, a timeline, because I think there are a lot of people that's trading Factom on Poloniex. I'm sure they're anxious to get their factoids off the exchange and into a safe wallet.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys have a projection, a timeline that you guys want to share with the audience, or is that something that's hush-hush?
Yeah, no, we get this question a lot. So everybody knows, like, we have a Slack channel too that we ask or answer a lot of these questions in, that you can come in and talk to us in real time. The Factom needs what's called Milestone 2 to be done. What Milestone 2 provides for Exodus is what's called receipts. So this is a long-winded way of saying that when I send you factoids right now, you don't know for 10 or so minutes whether you got those factoids. And we won't put Factom in Exodus yet until you can instantly know you got factoids. Once Milestone 2 is done and Factom is signed off on that, we will go ahead and integrate it into Exodus. So I would love to tell you a date. And when I talk to Factom, it's just, unfortunately, I can't speak for them. And I feel uncomfortable giving a date for something that isn't my responsibility. I hope that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
Actually, it is working. Factom is working inside of private builds of Exodus today. It's just like Daniel said, we need Milestone 2, the public test net, so we can start testing these receipts. And then when they release Milestone 2 to the public mainnet, then we will as well.
And Factom's doing a great job of making this release like as stable as possible and walking slow. And we respect them for that. So we know that when it comes out, we've been, just so everybody's fully aware too, we've been talking to Factom and been tightly integrated them since, what was it, February of this beginning of the year? Yeah. So since February, we've been working with Factom to get this integration where it needs to be. So when it comes out, you can be assured that it will be just as solid as any other Exodus asset.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have. I know that before we started the broadcast, you guys told me, the timeline that you have to do this broadcast. So I want to respect that, and wrap this up. Do you, Chuck or Carlo, do you guys have any last questions before we conclude this broadcast?
I have one final question. I don't know if you guys answered it before, but regarding the security, how do you guys make the private keys? As a user, how am I assured that you guys don't have your own private copy of my private key?
Yeah, well, like anything, I mean, you're not. I mean, the best answer is that you are not 100%. You can't be 100% sure. Just like when you downloaded Bread Wallet, or if you downloaded a Bread Wallet clone on the App Store, despite the fact that it's open and everybody could go see the code, people still got their money stolen from them. So you can't be 100%. But I guess given that we are trying to build a business here and we are a formal Delaware C corporation in the United States, I have a very, you can find where I live. I mean, it's I put a lot on the line. It's just, it would be really stupid.
You have skin in the game. You got, you're putting your, you're putting your reputation on the line. I got it.
One thing you'll notice with Exodus is from the beginning, in every single video, every single thing that we're doing, JP and my faces is in every single thing. So if something were to go wrong with Exodus, I mean,
you're probably going to jail.
That's it.
I also want to add, I'm not asking people to use Exodus and just to trust me. I'm saying if that makes you uncomfortable, do not use Exodus, please.
Right.
Don't.
Okay.
So
and
we
upfront
respect
and
that.
honest about it. That's the most I can ask. So that's good.
This is usually when I do a interview with a team of cryptocurrency developers. Afterwards, Leon and I will usually do a price prediction on that coin after we interview the interviewers.
Oh boy.
Right? The developers, you know. But since you guys are not a coin, it's really hard to do a price prediction on you guys because there's no coin, there's no price on the coin. So this is the prediction that I have for you guys, and I'll do it here instead of a separate video.
Okay.
Based on my experience with the Exodus wallet, I project that within a 1 to 2 year period, or even shorter, anywhere from 6 months, let's just say starting in the beginning of 2017 and within a year or so, I project that and predict that there will be larger companies that will come in and try to buy you guys out. That's my project. I can't put a price on it on y'all's project simply because, you know, there's no coin that's being traded, and I'm a technical trader. So if it can be charted, I would be able to give an accurate projection. But I see somebody like Coinbase, blockchain, Coinbase, blockchain.info. I see you know, other companies like, you know, possibly BitPay. They have their CoPay wallet, which is very good. It's multi-sig. Are you guys planning on including a multi-signature wallet inside Exodus?
We haven't talked about that only because, remember, for new users, multi-sig really, that would just confuse people.
Okay, okay.
But we actually do use CoPay internally ourselves, and we love that experience.
Yeah. So I project and predict that you guys, based on the quality of the software that you guys are putting out, I see somebody coming in and making an attempt to buy you guys out. And it would be one of the other blockchain companies that's already in existence that you know that has enough money. The reason why I say Coinbase is because, you know, they got that $75 million from the New York Stock Exchange, and that's in the cryptocurrency space. If outside the cryptocurrency space, for example, like those banks that are involved in the R3SEV consortium, I can see one of the banks looking at what you guys do, and if they want to step into the cryptocurrency space, that it's easier just to buy you guys out. You know, that's the way I see it. It's easier to just buy you guys out instead of starting from scratch and then just bring you guys on and just hire you guys full time to work on it. You know, and then just fund you guys to do it the way that you guys want it, and then, you know, probably according to their specs. The third group of people that I see that would look into is just hedge fund managers, like crypto hedge fund managers. So the guys like Barry Silbert, you know, that type of people, to where they need a software like that so that they can manage the assets for their clients or for themselves, and it's just so much easier than just using a spreadsheet, right? As and things like that. So once you guys get that, I can see a lot of big traders and investors getting involved. But that's my projection for now, is that, you know, either a blockchain company or a bank or a hedge fund is going to come in and sweep you guys up, man. So that's my price projection or prediction for what's going to happen with the Exodus project. So
okay,
we'll see.
We'll see.
All right, guys. Hey, I just want to say thanks, guys. This has been a fun and awesome hangout, and it's the first time that we actually interviewed anyone on our channel about a wallet, because most of the time, and this is, I want to say this before we wrap it up, guys. This whole time we've been talking about a wallet to store your cryptocurrencies, guys, because I still see in the chat box people thinking that we're pumping Exodus as a coin. Exodus is a wallet that stores your coins. It is not a coin. It's not an ICO. There's nothing to buy. There's nothing there's no coins to buy. Okay, so
let me tell you how refreshing that is to hear. You know, finally another little coin not to buy. You know, it's kind of getting ridiculous with all these little coins, and it's really refreshing to hear you guys with the, you know, slow growth model. You know, not the let's go fast and break things. You know, I like hearing the opposite, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency, which is money. You know, and you have to respect money, and I don't see that enough in cryptocurrency. and it's nice to hear it from you guys. Let me tell you.
And and just to to make a quick clarification here, I'm not here to pump Ethereum Classic like some of the trolls out there are saying. I am here because and the other guys here from the Ethereum Classic community here because we all want a reliable wallet to store our Ethereum Classic coins, and I also want it for Factom also because I don't like keeping it on the exchange. So that's my that's my final say so. If you guys don't like it, hit the unsubscribe button. So, all right, guys. Thanks for joining us on this video, guys. If you want more information and follow Carlo, he's at on Twitter at IOHK _ Carlo. Is that correct?
IOHK _ Carlo VETC.
Okay. And then if you guys want to follow Chuck, it's right there on the screen.
Yeah, I gotta get one of those.
Yeah, and if you guys want to follow the Exodus co-creators and co-founders, you can follow them at Exodus _ IO. And thanks for joining us on this video broadcast, guys. If you guys like it, give us a thumbs up. If you guys don't like it, give us a thumbs down. And one of the things that you guys can show appreciation is once I get this video concluded, take the link from it and post it on your Twitter and take a shout out to the Exodus Twitter handle, so they'll know that you guys enjoyed it. Okay, so this will conclude the broadcast, and thanks for joining us, guys.
Wish you the best of luck, really.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate your time.
Congratulations.